It is Monday night. It is time for our live stream.
More importantly than Monday, it is D100 Day.
D100 Day. Very exciting.
We're celebrating party hats and all.
Yep. We might do a giveaway or two near the end of closer to the end of the stream to celebrate, give out gifts. I mean,
Disney has a birthday and you get a gift.
That's true. That's how it works on Let's Talk Lorcana. So we have some really exciting guests with us here this week. Some old friends of the channel and some new friends of the channel. We're very excited.
Yeah.
This week, what are we talking about, Aaron?
We are talking about Rise of the Floodborn, and the baby is very excited to talk about Rise of the Floodborn. Apparently, she's being chatty.
She's very chatty. She may not last the whole show. But yeah, no, we've seen some Rise of the Floodborn so far. We've seen some art. We've seen some cards. We've seen some products. We know some things, not a lot, but it's a good time. It's a fun time to start speculating of what we could continue to see, make some guesses, etc. So
yeah, in the background, we'll definitely pull it up on the channel. But in the background, grab your Lorcana, website, grab your Lorcana app, take a look at those spoilers that we've gotten so far, and because we're going to talk all about them today.
Yeah, and ask any questions throughout the chat, or throughout the show, and yeah. All right. So we're going to welcome our guests in one by one who are going to be with us for this whole show. First, we're very excited. Joining us from across the world, where it's actually tomorrow, is your favorite dragon and mine, Mushu from Mushu Report.
Hey, Mushu.
Hi, everyone. This is Mushu.
Hey.
So, yeah, I'm living in the future, apparently.
To us, you are, but it's very exciting. For those who don't know, I'm sure everybody knows, but we're going to say it anyway in case there's somebody stumbling across Lorcana for the first time. Mushu runs Mushu Report, which is not only a website, but on Facebook, Twitter. If you want the latest breaking news from Lorcana, you have to follow Mushu.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know how you do it. The funny thing is, for those not keeping track of the time, a lot of the news breaks happen at what time for you, Mushu? Like 1 a.m.?
Like the new Merlin just came out at about 5 a.m.
Yeah. So... And I don't know how you do it. Every time I'm like, surely Mushu's sleeping for this one. And every time, just like that.
And you've scooped us all.
It's so funny.
Yeah, no, I recently got help. If you see the article for the new Merlin card, that one is done by a friend, Marius M. So he's helping me out to just kind of keep track of some of the, the articles when I'm really outright asleep because I try to sleep at 2 o'clock. By 2 recently because I'm very worried about all the Rise of Floodborn cards that might be coming at one go in the next couple of weeks. Yeah. So I'm trying to sleep while I can. So yeah, I got someone to help me out. But yeah, you can see I kind of just have an alarm every day at 5:30. I just get up, check a while for news. Is there anything? Nothing. I go back to sleep. Or if there's something, then yeah, I just get up and just start typing.
Well, I have to ask Mushu, since you are in the future, how was your D100 day?
Oh, it's nice. I mean, I was still working, but then I just got to end work. Then just nice to hit D100. And yeah, I got to catch Once Upon a Studio. It was really very nice. I was kind of slightly touched by seeing a lot of the characters that I was very familiar with, but I haven't seen in a long time. Of course, I can't keep catching all the Disney movies. And then, yeah, just seeing them on the screen again, some of them with their lines, and yeah, it was fantastic. Only regret is I wish there was more Mushu.
Yeah, right. I could see that why that would be. Well, we'll definitely talk more about Once Upon a Studio here in a minute with our other guests.
Yeah, because it was also heartstrings. Let me get my cursor back here. So and look at your Merlin Squirrel article is already up. That's amazing. All right, next guest we have for the show today is Lumineer Franz from Tavern, another old friend of the channel.
Hey, Lumineer Franz.
Hey guys, how you doing? I couldn't find a Disney hat, so I am using a legally nondescript beaver hat. Hope everyone's having a good day. I'm here to have some fun discussing some of these new cards, have some fun discussing D100. I was working all day, and I got home, fixed and made dinner, ate dinner, and sat down here. So I haven't even gotten to see Once Upon a yet. So I'm very excited. I've seen the clip everyone's been sharing around about it, but I'm very excited to see it in its entirety.
Yeah, it's.
I wish I could see it for the first time again. Honestly. Yeah. All right. We're going to talk about it. It sounds cheesy to say, but it's pretty good. All right. And our last guest, we're super excited. As you know, on this channel, we're a big fan of husband and wife channels and content creators for some reason. So this is so this is
Imagine.
Dana and Dalton, the team behind Inkwell Gamers. This is a fairly new YouTube channel, but one we're very excited about. How are you all doing this evening?
Good. We're doing good. Thank you for
Very
having us
good.
on.
Yeah, and apparently your banner didn't want to load, but this is it. The banner usually looks good. No, this is great. I love your channel, love your dynamic. It's a great for those who haven't subscribed yet, go check out their videos. And their podcast is fantastic. So thanks for doing what you all do.
Appreciate that.
Lorcana's I think one of the things that makes it special, we all know, is it's a family game and family game nights, etc. So seeing families playing is just always fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Big fan.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it. Let me get rid of this screen. Yeah, so D100. This is super awesome. The first thing we kind of wanted to do before we jump in Rise of the Floodborn is I'm not gonna lie, as you all heard us telling Mushu, like the studio D100 thing really took me by surprise. I forget who posted. I think Jonty posted it this morning, and I saw it, and I was like, all right, I'll go watch this thing, and it made me cry. And it really hit me, to be honest, a lot harder than I thought it would, just seeing all these characters. So we thought we'd start by, opening up, asking everyone, one, have you seen the D100 yet? Franz, I know you haven't. Once Upon a Studio D100 thing. And then two, is there like a particular like Disney memory or something from your childhood that really stands out to you, and that maybe the studio thing dug up?
Well, like I said, the studio thing hasn't dug everything up. However, anytime someone asks about my favorite Disney memory, I go back to my very first memory. By far the farthest back I can remember in my entire life was when my parents first took me to Disney. This was when I was like just old enough to be out of a stroller, but after walking for about a day, I wanted to be back in the stroller. But I got a Stitch hat very similar to this, where Stitch is eating my head, and I still have it back in my parents' house, actually. And the very first memory of someone speaking to me, I hear a mom grab her daughter, turn around and say, "Look how cute she is," like in my direction, and it's stuck with me forever. And first lucid memory, it's hilarious, and I absolutely love it. I've kept the Stitch hat forever. I didn't take it with me on my move down the coast from Pennsylvania to North Carolina, but it is still in my parents' possession.
Very nice.
First order of business, have that hat mailed.
Yes.
100%. Look, it comes in handy. You wouldn't even
for D200. You're gonna
for D200. Yes, for D.
I'll be ready.
Or D101.
You're gonna need it.
I'll be ready.
Yeah.
Mushu, what about you? What is your favorite Disney memory?
I'll be honest, because the shows don't really like show up on the big screen, especially here in the Asia region. We kind of get to see it like on the cartoons, on the TV here and there. So yeah, and there isn't really a Disneyland around me without me having to take a plane at least for 3 hours. So I don't really have a direct Disney memory I remember the most, but for me, it's always like the tough times. I remember listening to like Hercules Go the Distance, and especially more recent times, it'll be more like Let It Go. These are the ones which, the songs really just help me get through a tough day. And I think, yeah, that's the best memory I usually have.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Out of curiosity, why, I'm sure you've been asked this before and it kind of relates, but why Mushu? Is that a memory, or is it just...
I love Mulan. Mulan is one of my favorite shows. Mushu was definitely my favorite, especially him getting a launch into the air, into the mountain. Yeah, those are my favorites, which is why straight away when they showed Dragonfire back in December last year, I knew I had to straight away crop in the image for Mushu breathing out fire instead. Yeah, that was my favorite.
Dragon. I don't do that tongue thing.
A simpler time when we were all analyzing the puzzle pieces of Dragonfire.
Oh my goodness, right? Yeah. I loved that.
That was so long ago.
I know.
Another lifetime.
Yeah,
Aww.
We should dig that up. One day we're gonna do like 5 years from now. We're gonna do like a first year retrospective, and have all. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Love it.
Dana Dalton, how about you all?
Yeah, so I think I grew up in a big Disney family. We owned like all of the VHSs, and I remember watching them all the time. But I think like the biggest thing that sticks out for me is my first time going to Disney. It was when I was in high school, so we are all older, and just going as like a huge family and riding all the coasters. We got fast passes for all the rides, but my mom and sisters aren't too big into that. So my dad, brother-in-law, and I were just like, we kind of used the fast passes 2 times. I don't know if I should be saying that, but I kind of did like we did back-to-back coasters with the fast passes for like everyone, and it was so much fun.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I don't really have a story that's that powerful. I just remember when I was younger, my favorite movie was Oliver and Company. And I just thought Oliver and Dodger were just the coolest characters. And every time I just needed a comfort show to watch, I would just put that on and just feel right at home. They were always there for me.
And Billy Joel. I mean, it was Billy Joel. Billy Joel. It was Billy Joel, and Huey Lewis had a song in the intro. Like, that's great soundtrack. Pre-Phil Collins.
It is, yeah.
I mean, they've already landed like
And Bette Midler.
They'd already landed Sir Elton John in one movie, so I think, that was
pretty
I see definitely some people are dropping their favorite memories in the chat. If you have a favorite Disney memory, let's share it as a group. It's a super great thing. What's your favorite Disney memory, Liam?
It's hard to tell. Like, I think my first the first movie I remember seeing in theaters was A Little Mermaid. So that's a fun memory. But I will say my favorite memory, I lived in Maine, which is it's very far away from Disney World. And we never went as a kid, or when I was a kid, but my first time going was with Aaron. Shortly after we'd met, we were living in Georgia, and we got to drive down. And my first experience at Disney World was with Aaron. And that was a really special time because I felt like a kid seeing everything for the first time. Seven Dwarfs Mine Train had just opened, which was cool. So yeah, that was special for me. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
Dane and I get to experience that in a couple weeks. We're going, and it'll be my first time. Super excited.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's such a special thing. I think I love Disney more as an adult, like the Disney parks more as an adult than I did even as a kid.
Well, there's so much more you can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you all going to Disney World or Disneyland?
We're going to Disney World. Yeah. And we're also, I don't know, we're also going to Universal too, because we're big Harry Potter fans, but we're doing two-day hopper at Disney, and we're going to try to hit all the parks in a very short amount of time. So
oh my gosh, that is cramming it in.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great.
Godspeed.
Look, I was gonna say, definitely, close this segment with paying. We have a Treasure Planet shout out here, which I have to highlight.
Oh, yeah.
I have to say, go check out the studio. Once Upon a Studio. If you haven't yet, the best part about it is like every like B movie that you wouldn't think would be credited is in there somewhere. Prep and Landing even do a flyby, so like you can watch it a dozen times and see a dozen new things. So definitely check it out.
Yeah, they definitely cram.
Yeah,
cram.
sure.
And Treasure Plane's in there too. So we do want to talk about Rise of the Floodborn, and we can sprinkle in Disney memories throughout too. And I think the best way to do this is to start right away and jump in with kind of an open-ended question. Talk about the preview cards and say, for all of you, we've seen. I put the preview cards and stuff we're going to talk about on a slide, but then I went this week into Lorcana to download them and put them up, and there were so many, a lot more than I realized, that I couldn't do that. So I guess we'll open it up and say, we've seen a bunch of cards now. What stands out to you so far? What are your overall impressions of this set so far?
So specifically this set, the depth of design space feels so much wider than the first set. The first set we were getting very I don't want to say generic, but very understood and known cards, especially if you've seen other TCGs. A lot of these cards are just very geared towards Lorcana. They feel like they were made after the first set of development. It feels a lot deeper. It feels a lot more fleshed out. I think one big thing that a lot of people have as like a semi-criticism of the first set is that the ink colors don't have as much of an identity as some people would want. And I definitely feel a lot of these ink colors gaining more of that identity in this set. We have Steel with damage and manipulation. We have Amethyst with Amethyst keep going with card advantage. We have Ruby with more evasive, as well as just playing like a big, like, place your big boys on the field and have your opponent deal with it. You have Emerald just messing with your opponent in tons of different ways. And that's just from the game design perspective. If you look at like the art perspective, like you can very obviously see like they're going for strong heroine characters in this set so far, and it's looking fantastic. That Tiana art might be one of my favorite new arts to come out recently. It's just all of it is just, it feels deeper. It feels like Lorcana set 1, but just more, and I love it.
Yeah, you stole all my answers, but yeah, I agree with everything you said. Feels like they really tried to give each color a specific, like, push their identities in a more specific direction, and I am really excited about that. It looks really sweet so far.
Yeah, I can't go as in-depth as like Liam does, but I definitely love the art a lot more for Rise of Floodborn, like especially Belle, the hidden archer. She's just fantastic. I really love all these new Dreamborn and Floodborn ideas, just taking all our favorite characters, but just totally switching them up. And I'm all for it. The much stronger heroine appearance and all that, definitely the best.
I have to say, one thing that to go off of what you were saying, Mushu, we were talking to, I believe, Matthew Robert Davies a little bit about his experience with Rise of the Floodborn versus Chapter 1. And something he mentioned that was really interesting was how Ravensburger was a lot more open with the artist exploring the backgrounds of these cards going into set 2. So during Chapter 1, the backgrounds, the artists were asked to kind of keep the backgrounds a little bit more muted and let the characters kind of be the star of the cards. And then going into Rise of the Floodborn, it sounds like Ravensburger became more interested in exploring the environments that all of these characters and items found themselves in. So absolutely, I think that is like an intentional thing, Mushu, that you're seeing there with like the backgrounds becoming more immersive.
I do need to make one point too, though, and that is on that note, some of these cards, so Ravensburger designed at least the first 3 sets kind of together. And that's something we can definitely talk about with the gameplay, because it is not as if they planned the first set basically and they expanded on. Like the first 3 sets were kind of designed to be a thing. But because of that, there are some of these card arts which were done very early on. There's one in particular, and I won't mention which one, but there's one in particular that we messaged an artist about, and they said, wow, that was like one of my very first cards. And so to Aaron's point, Matthew Robert Davies did make that point and said at first, the item or the character was supposed to kind of stand out without much going on. And over time, they've changed that. But some of these cards may be very early art that we're only now seeing for the first time now.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's a good point. One thing that I always like to look out for is any hints that the revealed cards so far might give us of maybe other ones we haven't seen yet. So of course, obviously with like the panic because of the text, that like pain's coming too. But one thing that I kind of gravitated towards, or that is getting me excited that I hope to see, is the whole Merlin Madam Mim situation going on. Like in Merlin's human form, you see all of like the animals around him, but then in their animal form, like the text underneath their name, it gives that specific animal. So it almost, I hope, it makes me wonder, like Madam Mim Fox, like, are we going to see her in another animal form? So like, how many more like can we do? How far can they go? So one thing that really stands out to me when I look at that, like, when I look at the revealed cards, is just like trying to pick out the small little details of what we might see still. So that's kind of what stood out to me.
Yeah, then the main one card that I think really stands out to me, and I think to many people, would definitely be Beast Relentless, because that card is just crazy.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, Steve Warner himself actually apparently he first quested with Beast, then he took Grammatella to challenge. Then after that he challenged with Beast again because he got ready. Then after he challenged with Beast once more time. Then finally he quested with Beast a final time. So that one Beast alone did four actions within one turn.
Wow.
Yeah, you see it a lot on the Ruby cards that they limit things like this, whether it's like the shield or
LeFou,
yeah,
or Fan the
LeFou,
Flames.
right? Yeah, they usually limit things like this, but they're just like, you know what, we're gonna let you have your fun.
Yeah, so this goes
Yeah.
along with what Ryan and Steve had said before about the rarities and how they were working. In that rarities don't necessarily mean the power level, but the uniqueness of the effects. So the only other time that we've seen a character unexert itself and then not have that extra occasion was the Aerial Hoosic Collector, which was severely balanced by the fact that she was like a 4-cost, 3/3, and uninkable, and you needed to play another item, which in the first set weren't super proactive cards. Whereas Beast itself, if it's able to stick around after being played, almost anything you do, either with him or with if you're pairing with Steel, if you're pairing with just most other colors, or have like rush cards. Like you can get 4 to 6 lore out of this card pretty easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally agree. I was gonna say, so we've seen so he's a legendary. One of the ones we've seen from the second set. We've seen some legendaries which don't feel like legendaries in chapter 1 at least yet.
Hey, it's unique. It is a unique effect.
That is true. One day Gantu will be good. I have a feeling. And I have 45 of them now. But this feels like a legendary, right? Like we see this card and we're like 100% this is a legendary card, right?
This feels like a legendary card. I do want to bring up something that B Squared just said. Do you think Beast will run into the same problem Bell runs into, where it feels a lot more powerful but it doesn't do anything proactively, and there's a lot of control and a lot of spot removal in the game right now. So there will be times where you just play Beast on 6 and it gets immediately removed by whatever amount of cards that you want to name. So I do think it'll tend to trend towards that Bell area, but also Bell's still just a good card in the first set. And this card only gets better as the game progresses. So I think there will be a time eventually where this card where this card will be seen in a meta maybe a year down the line, and someone's gaining like 10 to 12 lore off this card fairly easily.
Yeah, it's either going to be something like that or singing Friends on the Other Side multiple times a turn. There's just a lot of really strong things that you could do, but the hard part is getting back to your turn with it still in play. Like, it's just not very easy to do.
Yeah, just a high-costed
or a whole new world limits.
Yeah, like high-costed cards that aren't proactive, especially at 6 in the set. Like once you're getting into that 6, 7, 8, 9 ink territory, you will have a huge target on the back, especially a card like this, which presents such like lethal possibilities. But not every color right now can deal with it, and I do think it'll probably trend a little bit towards that Bell area where it doesn't feel as good as people maybe have hyped it up to be on the release, because obviously it's a very exciting card, but I think eventually it'll carve out a very solid role.
It's also competing for the same spots as Genie is, and that card's really strong. By itself.
John Silver. I mean, different role in the deck, but still, it's a slot.
Both proactive cards.
He's inkable too. Yeah, he's inkable too, unlike Genie though. Which
being inkable, I think is this card's saving grace right now.
Yeah.
I will. I was gonna talk about art later, but since this is up and big on the screen, and I don't want to do that again later on, I just have to shout out Ariwelli, who's a big friend of the channel. Mastered the items in the first set. If you look at, he got Dinglehopper, he got Shield, he got a Tangle. He did get a dual credit on Smee, and I feel like in this set, they rewarded him with a legendary and said, "Here, Ari, go do something cool."
And it's beautiful.
Big fan. The other thing about this art, which I just find neat, I don't know, maybe it's just me. Chat, let me know if it's just me. But like, this card is scary. You're looking at Beast from the perspective of Gaston. He's either falling right now to his death or about to. This is literally one of the last sights that he sees in his life. And that's the perspective that gives you, the player, which puts you in the movie. And yeah, it's
okay,
scary.
you just went dark with that.
It's true. It's true.
He was truly too reckless.
Yeah. It was that's something that I honestly didn't notice until you pointed it out, but now that you did, it's scary good. Like, I think I appreciate it even more now.
And once again, Ari, like, one thing he's just so well known for, which is really interesting, because he's very well known for his color compositions. They are just absolutely incredible. That was what he did. That was his contribution to the Smee card. And it's really interesting because Ari is slightly colorblind. And so the way that he is able to put together colors when he actually struggles to see the differences in them, I think is just incredibly inspiring. And the fact that Ravensburger brings him in to do color compositions on cards is just a testament to how talented he is.
Now I'm going to go put every single one of Ari's design credits through like a colorblind filter just to see, kind of try to see what he's what they saw. I think it's really fun.
You share that with us if you do, because it is fascinating to think about. He has a whole different process he has to follow with his color bands on his, and I'm not an artist, I don't know how to describe it, but on the bottom of his tablet and how he does it. But yeah, he is colorblind, and it's yeah, like Aaron said, really inspiring.
I just say not exactly Disney, but when I saw this, I was thinking of the scene of Captain America pulling the helicopter and the building together.
Hey, that's Disney. That is Disney now.
That is Disney. That is true. That is true.
Everything's Disney now.
But for Beast, definitely is the other one, the playmat one. That is the one that's fantastic.
Do we know who? Have they credited that yet? Do we know who did that?
I don't believe they have credited it yet.
There's no news for that yet. Oh wait, it might be on the packaging if I think about it.
I do know who did the Sisu sleeves. I don't know if that's public or not, but if that's credited, I'm pretty sure we can dig and find out. Maybe somebody in the chat can go Google real quick and figure out if we know who the Gargoyle Beast is.
I do love the Gargoyle.
Cool.
It deserves so much more time in the sun, but unfortunately, it was revealed right next to one of my favorite arts in TCG history. You
must be referring to
Honey Wizard.
The Honey Wizard.
Oh yeah.
Like, that is just fantastic. I was when I first saw this, I went crazy about how much I wanted this card to be super, like, deck build around. I saw it as a vanilla. I was like, I'm very sad that this is a vanilla, but now now it's easier to collect more of them.
Yeah.
That's the thing. This Honey Wizard's fantastic. This game has so many amazing artists in all stages of their careers. But there are some who are like veteran masters, and John Lauren is one of them. A lot of the artists, I think, actually, fun fact, like Ari Welly and Matthew Robert Davies, I think, were in a class together, one of John Lauren's classes, on like color composition and character, whatever. But like John Lauren, kind of like Nicholas Cole, is an artist that some of the newer artists look up to, and he's just phenomenal. And he went way harder than he needed to on this card and really painted a masterpiece.
John, I've followed John Lauren through multiple different mediums, and just his backgrounds, man. Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
And like he showed a little bit of it with the Robin Hood in set 1 being that fantastic grassy background, but Honey Wizard's just a different level.
Oh, for sure.
Totally agree. Sorry, I was looking for Shere Khan. People have been asking about it in the comments a lot, and the card hasn't been spoiled. The art has been spoiled, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. Yeah. I do want to. There's one other thing I want to mention, because Honey Wizard is bonkers, and we could talk about it all day. And thank goodness we're getting it on a playmat. The Madam Mim thing that you all mentioned earlier in Merlin. What I love about these cards is, mechanics are one thing, but the mechanics, the art, the lore really make you feel, when you're playing a game, like you want to feel like you're telling a story, you're playing a story on the table. There's a narrative to it, and we all think about that. We all think it's hilarious when we sing a song, and we all imagine a character singing a song. We've all done it, where we're like, oh my goodness, it's
When the
Gaston
wardrobe-
singing "Be Our Guest." Or
Yeah,
whatever.
when I had the wardrobe seeing Friends on the Other Side, which I think
Yeah.
is hilarious.
So we
Anything
all like
singing
visual
Friends on the Other
stories.
Side is hilarious. I've had
Right?
Maui do it so much, and every time I chuckle just hearing the rock in my head, and it's just the best.
Yeah. But so Madam Mim and Merlin, you can tell the way they're going with these cards. There is so much interaction between the Madam Mim and the Merlin cards that you're going to be able to kind of tell the story of their duel, where it's like action, counteraction, reaction, and almost not play out the movie exactly, but that same kind of feel where it's like these two characters chasing each other around and changing. It's gonna be cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Playing Madam Mim with Merlin on field is just seems so funny. Just play, bounce Merlin, Madam Mim's just like looking around. Meanwhile, Merlin tricked her and then got you another card. It's great.
Yeah, they do complement each other really well. I think it's gonna be super fun to have those two in opposing decks.
Or in the same deck.
Or in the same deck,
even. Yeah. And or opposing. Like it's just fun.
Mhm.
Yeah, many people
What are
play
they-
Madam. Oh, sorry. Yeah,
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was thinking many people will play Madam Mim because she's probably one of the first real like cards that let you play out a combo. Because there's many combo players who like to see different cards work together and give you some very good results. And yeah, Madam Mim is one of the first few that lets you actually do that properly.
Also, just very
Yeah.
good by herself. Like she's gonna be really strong.
While we're on it, I need to go. This is not on Lorcana yet because Artem is probably sleeping, but that's okay. We did have an ask about the Merlin squirrel because this just came out today, and since we're talking about it, we may as well pull it up. What are all of your thoughts on the newest Floodborn card reveal?
Good card.
It's a good card because you get previously he definitely is similar to Yasma Alchemist, which Yasma Alchemist, by the time you get to see the top card twice, it's already the third turn that you have summoned her. While in return for Merlin Squirrel, you actually get his ability very straight away on the very first turn, and it's even guaranteed that you get it the second time. While for Yasma, it can probably just get banished by grab the swords, fire the cannons, and you might not even get her ability off even once. So yeah, Merlin is just gonna guarantee twice, which is it's a very good upgrade.
Essentially, if you think that Madam Mim is worth playing at 3 to 4 copies, you're playing this at 4 copies.
That's fair.
Yeah, I think Merlin's definitely a better Yzma, but I'm not super sold on it yet. Just because the body just isn't relevant for most of the game. And looking at the top card can be, I mean, it's obviously an upside. That's why you would play Yzma, but I just don't think it's going to be consistently strong enough to see a lot of play.
Anything to get rid of Ursula's Cauldron, please. I don't want to play it anymore.
Tired of activating turn after turn.
You might be right. I mean, Merlin goes down to an Olaf or any of the 1/3 stat lines, early on. But I do wonder if you are playing that, like you mentioned, the Madam Mim where you bounce stuff. Like if you get to play him, bounce him, play him again, and you get like 3, scries off of it. I don't know.
Like specifically, I think this card specifically is just functioning as a repeatable Ursula's Cauldron, so that you can play Madam Mim for the Inkable Rush on turn 3, and you have something to bounce consistently.
Yeah, I guess if it gets you 2 scries and then it's an ink, it's probably okay. So
yeah, I would assume like playing it like coming from the Ruby Amethyst perspective, this will likely hit the board, quest on turn 2, play Madam Mim, bounce it, do another scry, and then probably just be ink the next turn, which I think is good enough.
I was just thinking for Amethyst ink in general, there's just nothing really that great right now for 2 inks because everybody's playing brooms simply because there really isn't anything better than brooms. So I think Merlin is gonna take up that spot probably for the 2 ink for Amethyst.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a fair point actually. Somebody did ask, or Eliza did ask, is there going to be a whole theme deck of just Merlin and Mim? The answer is yes, and I think that's one of the starter decks, isn't it?
Yes. I believe Merlin is one of the arts.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think if you zoom in on the images of the starter decks, you can see that there's going to be a lot of different Merlin and Madam Mim cards within that starter deck.
That's fun.
So it'll be kind of fun. You'll get to test it out just from the starter.
I'm so excited. So excited. All right, I gotta go back over here. Yeah, that's super cool. One other we did have another question in the chat earlier. Gosh, we're just going all over the place, but this is fun. The wide-eye diver art is an interesting question because it hints at, I think, story. So let's talk about that in the narrative. One thing I forgot to mention earlier, Brian Weiss did the art for the Merlin Squirrel. Fantastic artist. I mean, he did like 6 or 7 cards in the first set. Brian, if you're watching, I hope the wedding prep is going well. Brian's actually getting married in like a week or 2. So congratulations to him.
Man, everything is happening in the next week or 2.
I know. So congratulations to him, and yeah, congrats on the card reveal. I'm just going to open it up and say, I think that the commenter was right here, Morpheus. I think there's certain lore and story here. What do you all think?
Oh, definitely. I think we started getting hints in the first set that Ursula might be behind everything. You have in the Duke's card and the Mickey Mouse Detective, they're both examining what appears to be seaweed, and then you have the ink everywhere. And then in this card, I mean, that looks like she's getting close to Ursula's lair in my opinion. I definitely think that it's gonna be heavy revealing like the canon of in set 2.
Yeah, I think like the other half of like what a lot of people have thought about for lore in the first chapter was like the Belle and the Maurice and the Ariel Who's a Collector. We saw a lot of the steampunky gadgets and gizmos, and especially the globe the globe that Maurice has. And as you can see here, the diver, like that seems like a pretty steampunky flashlight that this version's Maurice and Belle would have created. So this seems to be fusing them together pretty well.
Yeah, especially because of Minnie. She already has the other version. I think what was it name again? The Always Classy. So that version shows her directly, seemingly in the Great Illuminary. So maybe it's something to look out for, where Mickey and Minnie, I mean the 2 main characters of Disney, definitely being onto something regarding finding out the whole mysteries of the world of Lorcana.
Oh yeah,
that's a good point. They're kind of the heroes of the story. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I love the whole steampunk vibe to this. I love the art. On the art vein, this is a brand new artist that we haven't seen yet, Adam Fenton. He's from Austin, which we're super excited about. Being from Austin ourselves. But yeah, mentioning the seaweed, looking at the back here, Dana, this area here is kind of reminiscent of the seaweed strands that we see in those cards. I feel like the kind of squiggly lines and then Mickey Detective.
It is interesting to wonder as to why they're purple in those other cards, though.
Yeah, that's true. That was something that kind of throws me off a little bit, is why they would take that color. But I don't know. When it comes to Disney, anything can happen.
True.
That is true. Well, Ursula herself is amethyst, though, right? So maybe they're
trying to
giving us a
hint.
Yeah. It's interesting. I don't know. I mean, I have plenty more questions I could ask, and I'd love to hear more from the chat. But if anybody has any other cards they want to jump on real quick, we can absolutely do that.
I do want to point out how just the Tiana art using very natural hair is just really cool overall. And that card specifically, I want to point out is like, I think this might be one of the best cards currently revealed. I think Floodgate effects like this are generally very good. We saw one in the first chapter with Gantu that wasn't very good, but the Floodgate there was preventing your opponent from challenging with low cost characters, which doesn't seem very profitable. This stops them from playing actions, and currently the best cards in the game are all actions. So anything that stops that ability from happening seems very good to me.
You've kind of talked around it, but can you, for those who are watching who are casual players who may not understand the term Floodgate, can you explain that real quick?
Yeah, so Floodgates, the best examples here are Tiana and Gantu, which essentially stops your opponent or stops both you and your opponent from doing specific actions in the game. Very commonly found in Yu-Gi-Oh, where like specific cards are turned off. So something that'll turn traps off, spells off, and anything else. It is a mechanic that generally generates some ire from players because sometimes it is quite frustrating to play against. And
it's not the most fun experience usually.
It definitely is not. But I do think that is one of the reasons why designers like Miller and Warner, I think, are perfect for this game. I think they've done so well already. I think they can take this avenue of card design that opens up a lot of possibilities without potentially breaking it or potentially making it super, super unfun. And I think starting out with just not being able to play actions on a 1/4 body that you can pretty easily remove, I think is a pretty good step in that direction. Although I reserve the right to be wrong if this card becomes insane.
It's a slippery slope.
It's a very slippery slope. It is.
Yeah, my base is in Yu-Gi-Oh, so I can expand on that. There's tons of floodgates in Yu-Gi-Oh. There's stuff like restricts you from summoning. Let's just say, putting in Lorcana terms, you can only restrict to summon one particular ink color only, or you can only summon one specific classification of characters only, or maybe there's even one that outright just shuts off all abilities of all characters on the field. So it's nuts for Yu-Gi-Oh. So, and I'm personally just totally not a big fan of all the floodgate cards. I've been trying to get them banned, but yeah, that's just not happening in Yu-Gi-Oh. And I think for Tiana, it's kind of perfect simply because you can't get her ability that easily at all, just mainly because you need to have no cards in your hand, which even I'm sure everybody has played tons of games by now. It's just not happening in turn 4 or even turn 5 unless you're playing a lot of cards that specifically leads to it, like for example, Fishbone Quill. Then otherwise, there's just no way to reduce your hand size at all that easily.
Trust me, I'm in the tank. I'm in the tank already with this one, Mushu. You'll see me with Sapphire Steel as soon as that 2 comes out. I'm playing Sapphire Steel all day. I already play it now, and this is fantastic in that deck.
Yeah, but you can only get to like no cards in hand, maybe like turn 5, I think.
Yeah, so it's not necessarily about the speed at which you get there, because generally in Sapphire Steel you want to be ramping up, but then you want to sing Whole New World as soon as possible to get those cards back, and then at the point where you've sung Whole New World once, maybe twice, and then you've set up maybe 1 or 2 beast mirrors with 1 or 2 Inkwell Fishbone Quills, this feels like a very good top end of that.
Yeah, but that's the thing. For Sapphire Steel, your main strategy is just use up your resources fast, gain a lot of advantage, then Whole New World, and then you are in a much better space compared to your opponent. But if you want to play Tiana, then that kind of conflicts with a Whole New World, I think.
It is not a combo with a Whole New World.
So it doesn't combo with a Whole New World in the fact that you do draw 7 cards, but specifically Steel Sapphire, where you have the Bell, where you have the Fishbone Quill, you're able to generate those cards out faster, as well as you can play cards on the board more without fear of something like Be Prepared coming down right away, or something like Dragonfire, Mother Knows Best, Let It Go, stuff like that. I truly think that this card's fantastic. Does it toe the line between unhealthy Floodgate? Probably not. But I guarantee you there will be some people that might be a little bit upset about this card.
Interesting. There's some interesting questions in the chat. Great conversation. I do think you'll probably see a different Steel meta emerge that doesn't go to towards a Whole New World with Tiana. But I love this, and now I've written it down. I want to see how good this card is, so we can call out Franz if he's wrong. We're gonna have you back on like week 3 of Rise of the Floodborn.
I reserve the right to be right or wrong about anything. I made it. My first video was an hour-long tier list before I even knew the mechanics of the game.
Yeah.
That was very.
That is
fun.
true. I do. One note on this, because you mentioned the art, and I think the natural hair, which is just an amazing observation. Just one note for those watching, where Nicholas Cole was the standard bearer and kind of set the tone for the entire first set, and we saw his stuff on the box art, and we saw him have the primary characters. Matthew Robert Davies was the artist torchbearer for this set. And it was a very conscious decision to make him kind of the one setting the tone art-wise, giving him all the biggest characters, and then putting his stuff on the box art. So where Nick Cole was the star of the first set, Matthew Robert Davies is for this one. And so it's pretty cool. He's definitely an artist you should follow if you don't. That's kind of neat. I do love this card. Somebody asked, and it's an interesting question, and maybe for Mushu first, because you follow all of the spoilers. Let me find it. We had this dynamic in the first set where we saw a lot of spoilers, leaked into Discord one by one, and then a couple of content creators got them, and then it was almost like they ran out of time, and we saw like half the set, on the last day when the app was released. Do you think we're going to see a similar kind of dynamic here where we can expect one or two cards and then just kind of like a flood burst?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the only issue I currently have with how Ravensburger handles the marketing side of things. It's kind of random all over the place, and I think is as someone who's trying to report the card reviews, it's kind of tough to keep track. One thing that I appreciate for Yu-Gi-Oh right now is they just have a fixed time and they have a fixed website where they just release card news over there, or otherwise it's on Twitter. And then those are pretty much fixed timings. You get that at the timing of the day. If you don't see it, that means that day is just going to be quiet. That's about it. So that's one thing that I kind of hope that in the future can get improved. Because right now, yeah, it's pretty random all over the place. And I think that it's just 1 month left to the set. I was commenting on Twitter that you need like 5 card reviews a day to just get everything out. And it's not that fantastic, I think, for content creators, because if you're going to at one go release, say, like previously at the very last bit on the last day with the app, they released like 38 cards at one go in just one single day. So it's hard for the content creators or the YouTubers, even if they want to just go more in depth into certain cards, the strategy, and keep the hype train up, then it's a bit tougher for them. But yeah, hopefully that is something that gets improved over time. And though the thing is, previously they had to rush out the reviews because of Gen Con. I think they wanted to get everything up faster. I think that this time around they will still go into closer to the release date, maybe just 1 week before they release. So that's still 20 plus days for reviews, but that's still like 170 cards to go. So yeah, there's still gonna be a mad rush at the end to get everything up for sure. Then me and Atom, then Surya, all the guys who have sites to work on, then we'll just be out of commission for like a few days.
Yeah. Huge thing in other card games is having that set time, that set day, that set website, stream, Twitter post, Facebook post, whatever. I think like some of my favorite games in the past that I've been a part of, like, usually have a stream at a set time where they reveal new cards, they reveal new products, they reveal ban lists, product developments, they reveal like producer letters that are meant to explain some stuff. And like those are generally like really fun, really big things. And like, while I do like that they come into Discords and drop them here and there, I think that's really fun. I think the spectacle of a stream where like really gets the community together too, where everyone's like, hey, ready for the card of the day, ready for the stream where we get to see, I don't know, like 3 to 5 cards that are like meant to be together, so you can really build hype for those like archetypes and decks. I think that's really fun. I do think that's something that's pretty sorely missing for me right now in this game.
Yeah, and I just have to offer for anybody Ravensburger who watches, these criticisms are made out of love, because we want to appreciate these cards. To your point, Franz, like I don't think I'll ever forget. Like Sudden Chill for me will always be associated with Jonty's thumbnail of him in a coat.
That's fun. Like the content creators who got them, like everyone getting ready to jump into their chat. Like that's the type of stuff that we should be having for the majority of these cards. Like Like I feel like seeing Beast should have been a big occasion. Seeing like a high rated legendary should be a pretty big occasion. And I do enjoy how we've been doing right now. It does feel very personal, but I don't feel that hype, that the group hypeness that I do in some other games right now.
Yeah,
That's true. I will say I do, as impersonal it does feel dropping them in Discord, I do appreciate the team, connecting.
Yes.
It is connecting with the community and just going where the hardcore fans
And
are
it's
and even
fantastic,
answering
yeah.
some questions. And so I do appreciate that. But I think the one note from all of us is just we wish they would be like, I don't know, faster. I don't know. But I appreciate everything that's been revealed so far. Yeah. I do want to, before we go too long, I don't want to take up Mushu's time because you have a few minutes left. We did say we're going to do a giveaway for anybody in the chat. I have a question for the chat though. We've got a few things we could give away here, and I want to know what you want. We've got some Elsa card sleeves. We could do one of our remaining Adventure Mice playmats that we did a while ago. We could do one of our new playmats that we just had sent to Miami TCG Con, which is a Dream Within. We could do a Can or So You signed Tinkerbell Most Helpful, but I'll warn you, it's signed with a ballpoint pen, but it's still kind of cool. I think we'll call it that.
Yeah.
Or a Grace Tran signed Break. I can do that as well. Scott says the playmat. We'll see what other people. The mat. I'm assuming this is the mat that I just held up that I have in my hand.
Still one of my favorite mats to play at locals. I love that mat so much.
Franz, I have to say it warms my heart every single time I see it in one of your streams. It's one of 100, and right after for Magic players, right after we announced that mat and Nanaki finished it, they announced her cute to brute secret lair, her commander deck. Ooh. So she became like that was her. All the cute cards were her. Awesome. So so it's super cool. Miami Matt, you'll have to look on our Twitter feed. There's a mat that we made for Miami. There's only 30 of them. And it was a mat that we commissioned from an independent artist. I think the play mat I held up seems to be the winner. So we'll do that. We're going to do that through trivia. And I have a question that I could ask, but I want to put our other married content creator couple on the spot here and see if they have a trivia question they came up with that we could ask. And before, just yes or no, did you think of something?
I do have one.
Okay. So what we're going to do, everyone, is we're going to have Dana ask this trivia question, and whoever answers first in the chat, the first one that we see that pops up, is who will.
Which is correct.
Which is correct.
Just type anything.
That is true.
We see what you're doing, B squared. We know what you're doing already before you think of it. Don't just type a dot.
That's true. That's true. So if you think you know what the question is, you can throw in an answer right now, and maybe it's right. Who knows? But Eliza, I see that comment. We will see you in Miami. We'll have other stuff, and we may have a T-shirt for you as well. So all right, go ahead, Dana. What is your question?
So my question is, what is the name of the title where we first met Mickey Mouse?
Ooh.
The title show.
Title show?
I think it was a show, but where were we first introduced to Mickey Mouse?
Brandon, it was not Friday. Sorry.
I think I just saw it.
I believe I see it too.
I think I see it as well. And it looks like it's 1st to 20.
Is that the right answer?
Steamboat Willie. That's where we got introduced to him.
Very
Steamboat
nice.
Willie, 1st to 20, hot on the
hot on the keyboard.
We got 3 at the exact same second, but 1st to 20 got it first.
Oh, yep. Yeah, I think that's right. That's the first one that popped up. Fast, all of you. Fast, all of you.
Fingers of fire.
Yeah. But hey, we have more of these, you all, and so we'll do some more giveaways, and send us a note if you want one as well. But so 1st to 20, shoot me a note. We'll hook that up. Can you buy a Val, Scott? I guess. I don't know what the market rate is now on vowels. I'll have to check TCG Player.
One
so we have a couple
enchanted
minutes.
Elsa.
Yeah, Mushu, I know we're going to do some closing thoughts here. We have about 5 minutes left. Mushu, I know that you need to go first. So I want to start by saying thank you so much for showing up. We've collabed with you before. You're an old friend of the channel, and can't thank you enough for showing up. Do you have any closing thoughts on Rise of the Floodborn or Disney or anything?
Rise of Floodborn, I think that whatever comments I might have is still kind of early because we barely know just 10+% of the set, and I'm hoping for more cards that can let us do interesting combo plays like Bounce, like Madam Mim and stuff like that. I'm a combo player at heart actually, so I think that there's going to be more stuff to look forward for that based on what we've seen, and yeah, I hope to see more of it.
Awesome. That's awesome. Thank you so much for showing up. And yeah, I can't tell how much I appreciate it. Everybody, if you don't follow Mushu on Twitter, follow him on Twitter, monitor the website, Facebook, all the places. It's the best place to go for quick news. All right. Thanks, Mushu.
Thank you very much.
All right. I did see one note. Plane Crazy is the first time Mickey Mouse on screen. Steamboat was the third short, but the first that was widely distributed. Interesting. Sorry, Jonty. Maybe we'll send you a playmat, but that's a good note. We're in the contest. So before we say goodbye to our other guests and get final thoughts, I did see First to 20 is going to be in Miami, which will save me on shipping. And because I'm excited about that, I'll do one more giveaway here because I have a trivia question that I love, and I'm betting with Jonty's Disney knowledge, he may get it first. I'll send out these Elsa sleeves if anybody wants them. And my trivia question is, what is the name of Prince Philip's horse?
Ooh.
Yeah, and if I see it pop up in the chat, I will highlight it. Jonty with the actually. So when I see the name of Prince Philip's horse pop up, hopefully somebody knows off the top of their head, not Googling, I will.
I need to see Jonty post a video on Twitter now of him pushing his glasses up.
The horse is not named Friday. Be squared. Brandon. Yeah. So, any closing thoughts from you, friends, while we wait for the answer?
Resist is very cool. I really want more Item Slingers cards. There was a third. I will own 100 foil Honey Wizards.
All right.
It kind of goes on theme with is it 100 because 100 Acre Wood or?
Yes.
Love it.
Love it. All right. We'll look for that. Yeah, Jonty did get it. The answer is Samson. I see Matt Robbins came in second. Matt, I think that's the second time you came in just behind the winner. So Jonty types so fast. I had a feeling he would get it. That's okay. Dana, sorry, that's all right, Mushu. Dana Dalton, any closing thoughts? Thank you so much for joining us. What are your thoughts on Rise of the Floodborn D100?
Yeah. Going off of what Mushu said, like Steel, honestly, it makes me, that whole resist makes me really regret not liking to play Steel. I might have to consider changing. I'm biased towards Emerald, but no, I'm really, as a female in TCG, I'm really digging the like strong warrior women that are being depicted. Like you have Cinderella as a knight, you have Belle Archer, and then of course Raya and like Mulan, I'm sure we're going to see more of. So I don't know. I just think it's really cool to see like these strong females being depicted in the art.
For me, I am also a combo player at heart. I didn't know that until I got obsessed with the items deck, but
he's tried so hard to make it work. It's sad.
It just doesn't get
so
there,
hard.
But I am really excited for the set as a whole. It looks awesome so far. A lot of interesting cards. Super pumped.
Yeah, that's awesome. Aaron, what are your closing thoughts?
I like completely other tangent. I'm super jazzed for Miami this week.
That is true. That is true. It was an hour. We didn't talk about Miami. It's going to be awesome. There's a lot of content creators going. Follow them if you want to see what's up.
Yeah, I'm really, really jazzed. I can't believe this week is the week we get to like meet artists in person for the first time, with how much Liam and I geek out about the artists all the time. We actually like, they're going to be in 3D and it's going to be so amazing. And I'm going to fangirl all over again.
There's not going to be enough time in the weekend to do everything. It's going to be crazy.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
absolutely not. Absolutely not. But what am I excited about with Floodborn? You know, or with Rise of the Floodborn, honestly, I have to second the whole strong female character things. Like I'm loving even I was telling Liam today, I'm loving like Cinderella. You see her as like a knight in training, and then you see her as a knight, and I'm just loving female representation in TCGs.
For sure.
Let's keep doing it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I totally agree. I'm going to close with a couple thoughts here. First, just one more time, thanks to our guests. If you don't subscribe to Traverse Tavern and follow them on Twitter, or the artist formerly known as Twitter, you should absolutely do that. They're at Traverse Tavern. And then Inkwell Gamers, fantastic podcast. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you.
Appreciate you for having
Everybody go subscribe to this channel. Let's pump up the subscriber numbers by another like 10 or 20 or however many people are on the stream right now. The last thing I want to say is Miami is coming up this week. We're super excited. So this is the last pre-Miami week. This is also the last week, for those who aren't tracking, that we are going to end our show without encouraging you to go check out a brand new hour to an hour and a half long show starting next week, right after ours, which will be headlined by Jonty and Brandon from B Squared. It's going to be just fantastic. And I think, yeah, it's just going to be fantastic. I'm super excited about it. So Jonty, Brandon, we're excited for your show. And next week, we can't wait to say, hey, everybody, head over to watch the name of the show that I can't remember exactly. But
This Week in Ink.
it's going to be fantastic. What is it called?
This Week in Ink.
This Week in Ink. I love it. It's going to be fantastic. So we're going to, go back to back next week. It's going to be awesome.
Hidden announcement in the
Oh, sorry.
You jumped the gun, Liam.
I did. I'm sorry. Hey, we saw the teaser. Nobody was okay. We got to go end the stream. Bye.